Well, it's Monday morning, and I wanted to check in and say hi. Nothing formal, just saying hi, and hope you're hanging in there. It's getting tough for me anyway. So especially kind of with the wet weather this weekend. This weekend I got out to some trail near Russellville on Saturday. That's really nice. They're building some new mountain bike trail with a lot of rock features that are pretty cool. And then Sunday, I kind of got a little bit low sitting around the house in the rain, and then during the break in the afternoon, I got out for a very nice run, and it ended up being exactly what I needed. So that was good. The sun came out, and I got out and got some good exercise. So this week we're still talking about motivation. You know, the content will flip over tomorrow on Tuesday. This week we're doing motivation and some different topics like motivation types. Whether that's internal or intrinsic or extrinsic. And I think we all like to think of ourselves as having more intrinsic motivation in sport. We see that as kind of being more worthy if we're motivated just by the activity itself and the fun of the activity itself and the fulfillment that we get from it on the inside. But even as an adult, I feel like I see a lot of extrinsic motivation on things like social media. Especially in recreational running, which is what a lot of my peers and friends do. I see a lot of maybe bragging or results posted or medals, bling or medals or T-shirts posted on social media. And so I think sometimes maybe we are affected more by extrinsic motivation than we are kind of willing to admit. We maybe in the form of recognition or approval from others or our friends that we did something. We got second place, or we ran a 3:30 marathon, or whatever it is. Maybe we need pats on the back from each other every once in a while. So that's a simple example of extrinsic motivation. We talk a little bit about flow in this content, not a whole lot. And then I have an article about some differences in motivation types in sports versus exercise. And so I think with adult recreational sports, sport and exercise can be blended a little bit. For example, I'm a runner. I would say I run for both sport and exercise. Yeah, I like to compete. I consider it my sport. But I mean, obviously, it's also to keep me feeling good and in shape and looking like I want to look. So, some different motivations there, depending on, I guess, whether you think of it as exercise or sport, and then looking at some differences between genders. So, kind of what men report more motivation in terms of versus what types of motivation women report. So, and it looks at the interaction between those things. So I thought it was just an interesting kind of eye-opening article about how different motivation types might vary. So anyway, that's kind of what was in this week's content. Again, we're flipping over to something entirely different next week or on Wednesday. So we're going to start looking at injury, and we've got one assignment left, and that is the sports psychologist assignment. And so you're going to do an actual interview or an interview with an actual person, and you're going to formulate some questions based on some of the topics that we've talked about in the psychology unit. Like, what are some of the psychological skills tricks that they use? Do they use any tricks like that we talked about in that first psychological skills training unit that we did? What are they motivated by? So, kind of get some more detail about maybe some of their reasons for motivation and some different activities. And here coming up, we'll talk about anxiety and optimal levels of anxiety. You've got to have a little bit of anxiety, but not too much. So maybe you can break down some of that. So anyway, just, you're coming up with the questions, and I've included some examples in that assignment, but hope you can think of somebody to interview. You can use Skype or FaceTime or Zoom or, whatever, House Party or whatever your app of choice is to talk. And if you can't think of anybody to interview, feel free to interview me. So, or whatever. It's everybody, everybody's got some kind of sport or activity or had an experience, even if they're not currently doing anything. So, anyway, hope you're starting to think about that one. But I just wanted to say hi on this Monday morning. Tell you that I'm hanging in there. I kind of go up and down some days. Some days I'll be in a good mood and and then have a good, exercise activity, and then it'll rain and I'll get kind of down, or like some boredom will hit, or I lose interest in the book that I'm reading, and then I think, ugh, blah. So anyway, just telling you how I feel. So I hope you're hanging in there, um, and that's it. We'll do what we do. So have a good week, and I'll talk to you guys soon.